Thank you guys for being on this morning. I know it's the day after Halloween, and probably a lot of you are like me. Number one, you probably ate too much candy and you had a sugar rush and you couldn't go to sleep. Or number two, your kids stayed up a lot later and they're sleeping in, and so that means that you're sleeping in, which is exactly what I did this morning. Um, or number three, you're literally just super worn out, so you're here, but you're half asleep. So I think all of us fall probably in one of those categories this morning. But I appreciate you guys being on here. I appreciate you taking the time to make these trainings happen. Me and Patrice both, and she's so great at it, but I'll try to definitely be posting more reminders throughout the week. But just know that every Wednesday morning these trainings are happening and these team calls are happening. So I think it's good just to put on your calendar for every Wednesday morning, because our commitment to you guys is to really make these happen and cover topics that are going to be really helpful and relevant to you guys. And so Patrice and I will be taking turns this week. I'll be leading the call, obviously, and then Patrice will take the call next week. So we'll be kind of like every other week divvying it up. Also, depending on the topics, what we feel strongly about and what we're really passionate about speaking on. So this morning, I'll be honest, I really went back and forth on what do I want my topic to be for these ladies. And really what it came back to was the number one question that I get from every single coach. And that is, how did you grow your Instagram? What are your strategies on Instagram? How do you take good pictures? What apps do you use? How long does it take you to write your captions? Like, all of these questions are the questions that I'm asked all the time. And honestly, sometimes it's even a barrier for new coaches because they think that their Instagram needs to look just like mine, and they need to have, all these followers, and they need to have these perfect pictures. But today I'm going to talk to you guys about Instagram and how you can use it in your business. Let me first say there's a lot of different people using Instagram, and there's a couple different ways that people strategize around it. And so what I want to first remind you guys of this morning is that you are business owners. You're not a blogger. You're not a, corporate company. You're not a just mom who likes posting on Instagram. You are a small business owner, and you are specifically, doing things in fitness and whatever else that looks like for you, whatever else makes you special. And so your Instagram is not going to look like the woman who's just blogging for fun and sharing things that she likes. Your Instagram is not going to look like the mom who's just super passionate about, like, I don't know, all natural baby care products. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are a fitness coach and we are selling products. And so our Instagrams and what we put out there and what we do is going to look a little bit different. And so you can't compare yourself to those different accounts. That's a mistake that I made when I first started, was I really looked at these bloggers and I was trying so hard to learn from them. And yes, there's so much relevant information that you can take from those kind of Instagram accounts and those kinds of trainings. But at the end of the day, those people don't make money. They put a lot of work into something where they literally just get free stuff, and that's about it. And I have friends who are like that, and they hustle on Instagram. They spend a ton of time on it, but literally they don't make no money on it. And so I'm not saying that those aren't good people to follow and learn from. I like to know the bloggers in my area. I like to get together with them. I like to learn from them. But your Instagram is not going to look like theirs. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we get into things. But let me just first say, too, if you're a new coach and you're on here, you're listening to the recording, I really encourage every single coach to pick one social media platform they are going to become a boss in, and they're going to own, and they're going to really get to know before taking on any other types of social media accounts. For me, Instagram was the first thing that I started with. And the reason that I am so passionate about Instagram, and it'll always be the place where most of my business is happening, is that, number one, it's so much easier to connect with people. It is not creepy on Instagram to follow people. On Facebook, it's a little creepy just to friend somebody when you don't really know them. And so I love that about Instagram, that I can discover people easily, that I can friend them easily, that I can message with them easily, that I can see like a background of their life through Insta stories, that I can literally swipe up right then and there and shoot them a message, that they can shoot me messages, that it makes it super easy to connect and super easy to have conversation. And I love that Instagram is, it sometimes drives me crazy, but I do at the end of the day love the photos, and I love that it's driven by the photo. And even though that's going to require more work on our end, I love that about Instagram because it does make it really cool and a little more creative. And so that if you're somebody who, absolutely hates taking pictures, then honestly, if maybe you need to start with Facebook, because Facebook is a little bit, it's not always about the picture. Yes, you always have a picture, but Instagram is very driven. It's a picture driven platform. And so I love Instagram for those reasons. And so if you're a new coach and you're kind of debating on which direction you should go, my only advice is that if you're going to do Instagram, do it really, really well and don't focus on the other things so much. I'll be honest, even now, being in the coach for 3 years, or being in the business for 3 years, I'll use Facebook and I'll share things on Facebook from my Instagram account, but very rarely do I go to Facebook just to post on Facebook. Like most of the time, it's because, I posted on Instagram and I pressed that share button. And so, for new coaches, just really be thinking about that and be thinking about how you can really get to know this platform. So, number one, let me first say this. This is literally the thing that drives me the craziest when I see on Instagram. I'm just going to call out a few of my super duper annoyances with Instagram and Beachbody coaches and fitness coaches and business owners in general. Number one, you have to be consistent. If you are not consistent, you should not expect to see results on Instagram. You have to show up. You have to plan your post out. I personally think that everyone should be posting at least 2 to 3 times a day. You should have something in the morning that you're posting that's inspirational. You should have something midday or towards the end of the day or whatever that works for you and your schedule that is informational. And then you should have a post every day that's from your heart. And so I've really tried to get to that place of, something that is inspirational, something that's going to bring my followers knowledge, something that they want to hear from me on, and then something that's from my heart. It could be about mommyhood. It could be about something I'm struggling with. It could be, any of those things, but you have got to be consistent. I see coaches all the time who come to me and they're like, Caroline, I need help with this. Caroline, I need help with that. And I'm like, okay, well, let me look at, are you doing the vital behaviors? Let me look at your Instagram account. They're posting once every 6 days. That is not going to drive a following. That is not going to drive a tribe, because what makes them think that inside your challenge group, you're not going to just, up and leave them and only post every 6 days. You've got to be consistent. Obviously, I take Sundays off, and on Saturdays, I don't necessarily post much. It's okay to have a day of rest. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying be consistent on the other days. If even just twice a day posting, even once a day posting, like you just got to be consistent. You got to be posting every single day, and make sure that you're sharing content that is relevant to the person that's following you. I always tell every new coach, sit down and literally draw a picture. Draw a picture. Make their face, make their lips, everything about them. Draw a picture of the person that is your ideal customer, and then go around it and write the words that describe them. Right? What makes them different? You should be getting super duper specific with this, okay? Like this isn't just like mom likes to shop, you know what I mean? Like it should be specific. Like, I don't know, like Southern, Christian, likes fashion. I don't know. Get super specific about who that person is for you. And the things that you do, every single post that you post should be with that person in mind. Is this post going to speak to that person? Sorry, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here. Let me go back to the things, though, that drive me crazy on Instagram. So that first thing was consistency. Number 2, it drives me crazy when I see people use stock photos from Beachbody. Do not post stock photos. Like, don't do it. It makes you look like a Beachbody robot. Like, you're not a Beachbody robot. You're a small business owner. This is your business. This is your brand that you get to grow. And yes, Beachbody is a part of it, but Beachbody isn't all of it, okay? Like for me, Fit for Glory is my brand and Beachbody is a part of what I'm doing. But like I want for someone to go to my Instagram and not even really know I'm a Beachbody coach. Like you gotta kind of fly under the radar. You gotta let those conversations happen offline. Don't just be Beachbody throw up. If you have Beachbody in your bio right now, get on your Instagram and take it out. Because you are building a brand. I am building Fit for His Glory, right? Like this is my brand and I have connections and relationships through that. And yes, I introduced them to Beachbody products, but I want them to be interested in what I'm doing. I want them to be like, what workout is she doing in her garage? What is that drink that she's drinking? Or what is that smoothie that she makes? Or I wonder what she puts in her smoothies. Or I wonder how she gets all her nutrients during the day or what meal plan she follows. Or I want them to wonder those things so that they want to come and talk to me about them. So if you're a person who has Beachbody all over your Instagram or somebody who has it in your bio or someone who's posting stock photos, go through and delete them right now because you don't want to look like a Beachbody robot. And like I said, Instagram is a very visually focused platform. And so that means that you've got to be thinking about the photos that you're putting out there. Don't post stock photos. It drives me crazy. Secondly, make sure when you're posting photos that they're the right direction, that the coloring is good. It's another thing that drives me crazy when people post super dark photos that you can't see, or they're blurry, or they're just kind of like, okay, like I don't really want to like it because it's not that great of a picture. It drives me crazy. It is a visually driven platform. We'll talk more about how you can make better pictures, but make sure that you're posting good photos. So these are just some of the things that drive me crazy about Instagram that people do, that I see coaches do a lot. And so the last thing that I'll say that drives me crazy about Instagram that I see coaches do a lot is constantly promoting something. They're, hey, this challenge group, hey, this sneak peek, hey, this free group, hey, okay, now I'm doing this other coaching group, okay, hey, now this. No, like, yes, you can promote certain things there, but like pick one or two. Like do the others on Insta story, do them through one-on-one invitations. Like, be selective about what you're putting out there. And if you're going to post all of them and you're going to promote all your groups on there, that's fine, but make sure that you're posting 3 times a day if you're going to be doing that. Because here's the deal. If you're only posting once a day and every single one of them is an invitation to something, nobody really wants to be in it because you're not giving them anything. There's no worth in following you. And so they're just going to press unfollow because they're annoyed. Okay, so those are the things that drive me crazy about Instagram and drive me crazy about things that I do see coaches doing. So now let's talk about the things that I think are super duper important if you want to grow your business through Instagram. I said number one is consistency. So I cannot beat the dead horse enough. You've got to be showing up. You've got to make plans. I'll just give you guys a sneak peek of what I personally do. So I'm sure you guys have seen me posting about this business tracker that She Works This Way is coming out with. I got the chance of buying it at the NARO conference that I went to in Asheville. This has been a game changer, and I actually want to at some point walk you guys through exactly what's in it and how it works, because I would really love to see all of you using this, because this is really about having a holy hustle. And so I know that that's all of our desires here in the Uplift Tribe. So let me show you at the beginning of each week. Well, actually, you can do it on Mondays or you can do it on Fridays for the next week. There's a whole content strategy section. And so I literally make a list of all of my ideas about what I could post on my Instagram. And then I literally go Monday this, so I have 3 posts a day. So I wrote out what my 3 posts each day will be, right? And so that way I've got it all planned out for the next week. So I even then, go on my little sticky notes on my Mac computer, and I literally write out what are my posts going to be. And this just really helps me stay organized. This helps me be consistent in my business. This helps me because if I plan these on Friday, then throughout the weekend, I can try to snap some of the photos that I really want to have. My husband has a much better iPhone than I do. Mine is literally all cracked up and gross, but he has the newer iPhone. And so when he's home on the weekends, I try to use his phone and, take as many pictures as I can, because it takes a lot better photos. So, you know, on his is the HDR. You should always have the HDR on. I always try to use good lighting. I always try to even use like the portrait mode if I can, because this just takes really, really good pictures. And so, I guess that kind of leads us into good photos. So obviously, because Instagram is a visually driven platform, you got to have good pictures. You know, I have found that, you know, I think some people think that professional photos is where it's at. My little sister takes photos, and so she's been taking some pictures for my Instagram account for me. And it's been interesting because I don't know if it's coincidence, but my engagement has gone down a little bit. And while I say to you guys that it's a visually driven platform and you should be taking good photos, you know, people do want to see those authentic photos. They want to see those photos of you in your garage. And so I think it's a mixture, right? Like if you've got great professional photos that your family had made or something like that, those are great to use. But it's also okay to take photos in your garage, at your house, doing your workouts. Like people want to see that background story of what it really looks like to make this healthy living and healthy lifestyle real. And so that's what makes you different than a blogger or someone who's just putting things out there with the clothes they're wearing, because you want for people to look at your Instagram and say, I want to work with her. I want what she has. I want to look like that. I want to achieve those goals. I want her to come beside me and help me reach my goals. And so that's why it's important that you're posting real, authentic, you know, content. That's what you're putting out there, that you're being inspirational. And so you can take those good quality photos, but you got to think about how you're taking them. Lighting is key. I'm not talking about lighting from a lamp. I'm not talking about lighting from a light. I'm talking about like lighting from the sun. You know what I'm saying? So that's why over the weekends, I try my hardest to get in as many photos as I can, just snapping them. And they're always natural photos, like they're during my workouts, or they're with me and Emmeline after church as we're leaving or whatever, or me doing my Bible study. And I'm like, hey, babe, can you watch Emmeline? I'm just going to go out to the porch and take a few photos for my Instagram for next week, because I know what my posting is going to be, because I've already planned it out. And then I can try to get those photos throughout the weekend. And especially on those sunny days, like today, it's super gloomy outside and kind of rainy. Not a good day to be taking photos. And so just be thinking about that on those days that you do have the opportunity. You know, I'm also a big fan of kind of having a sort of color scheme on your Instagram feed. You'll see, not always, like don't get me wrong, but I try to kind of have pinks and turquoises and blues on my Instagram account. And so I actually have a certain filter that I use on every single photo. And so my favorite apps to use when it comes to editing photos, writing on photos, that kind of thing. So I love an app called Color Story. I actually heard about this from a photographer. And it's really great. It's great for editing your photos. So what I typically do, and it's taking forever to load, so you can kind of see it here. So what I typically do is I would upload my photo. And you can just, I don't know how well you guys can see this. So you can upload your photo. Let's see here. I'm trying to find a picture. Why are these all videos? I think I accidentally hit videos. So you can click a photo. Let's just say I'm using this one. And then you can actually like choose different filters. And so I had bought a package. It's called Flashes of Delight. And so I always use like one of the first 3 filters, and they're all similar enough to where they blend on my newsfeed. And so that's what I use on every single picture. I always turn the brightness up if it's a little bit dark, because I really want my pictures to be light and airy. And so that is my favorite app to use for editing photos. It is like $2, but that's worth it because it's your business and you want your Instagram to look good. And so I like it because it kind of brings out those pinks and those turquoise, and it's very light and airy, and that's what I personally like. For writing on my photos, I actually use Canva on my computer. I make all of them in advance, and then I send them to myself. I send them in a text message to myself. I send all of my my content to myself in a text message as well, because I've got my iMessage hooked up to my computer. So then I just iMessage everything to myself so that then I have it on my phone and I can just easily upload those devotionals each morning. I used to feel conviction about, or not conviction, I was legalistic about making sure that whatever I posted that morning was really what I had studied that day. That is not realistic now in my life with a child. And Michelle Meyer said something that really gave me a lot of freedom. She said, God's word is never void. And so whether I studied it last week and God convicted me of it, or he literally convicted me of it this morning, like me sharing it today, it's not going to be void. Like people, it's going to reach someone, and God's word is like, it's not something that I should feel bad about because I didn't study it this morning and share it instantly. You know, like sometimes you need a time to chew on something. And that's been really good for me. It's given me a lot of freedom because I felt like I was constantly studying God's word and thinking, what can I share from this, instead of what's God teaching me, and then turning around and sharing it when it was relevant or when I felt led to. And so when it comes to my morning Instagrams, I try to plan those out as best as I can. So let's talk about captions really quick. Now, it is important that your pictures are super, visually appealing, right? Like they've got good lighting, you've got a good theme going on your Instagram. It needs to be obvious to people. If people are just staring at your Instagram and they're just scrolling through quickly, most people are not sitting there looking at your Instagram like, okay, she's got this going on. Like it's got to be easy to see, right? And so if you do have a theme, or if you want to just post really good pictures, however you want to do it. Obviously, I have a theme. I like to have all of my devotionals on one tab. The reason I like that is because if someone comes to my Instagram and they say, oh, I really love Caroline's devotionals, they can just go through all of them if they want. They don't have to go searching for them. They can just quickly look through each of them. And so that's what I personally like to do. And that just helps them be able to see where they all are. Nothing else on there is organized. I just, share, like I said earlier, one from my heart, and then one that hopefully brings some knowledge or, helps my followers in some way, shape, or form. But those aren't necessarily in a certain order. Sometimes one's in the afternoon, one's at night, just because of the nature of my job, full-time job right now. Sometimes I can't always post in the middle of the day. But not only should your pictures be super visually appealing, they should also have a caption that is inspiring or brings those people that knowledge or encourages them, because that's your job as a coach. Like you should be an inspiring person. Like you should be an uplifting person. And so at least one post every single day should encourage them, should be something that honestly probably encourages you too. Like don't feel like, oh, I'm a fake because today I'm having a bad day and now I'm posting something inspiring on my Instagram account. That's not what it's about. Like you're inspiring other people and you're inspiring yourself. I mean, sometimes the stuff that I post is not necessarily something I'm like, oh, feeling this today, but when I post it or when I put it out there, it also encourages me, so it's not necessarily something like you shouldn't feel bad for that because you don't have it all together. And guess what? In that next post, you can say that night, that heart post or whenever you post it, hey guys, I'm a failure and you are too, because this is why. But we have hope in Jesus or whatever it is. Like those are the moments where you can be real. Like, hey, I don't always want to work out. I don't always want to do this. Like be real, be raw, but it's okay to also have those inspiring posts because you are a Beachbody coach and that is your job, is to come beside people and encourage them. And sometimes we have to muster that up. Sometimes we have to be like, Lord, I need you to fill me up so that I can fill others up because I'm not feeling it right now. But, that's still something you should be doing because that's your job. And so when you think about your captions, like take time to pour into this, guys. Like it shouldn't be something that you're just like throwing together. Like, I mean, for some people, it's going to take longer. Like me and Brie always joke when she comes over here because I have been doing this a while. Like I have been doing this for 3 years. And so it's quick for me sometimes. I can sit there and write something out because I've been thinking about it for the past hour or two about what I'm going to write. And then I sit down and I just put the words on paper. And so everyone's going to have a different approach. Maybe you're somebody who needs to sit down with a pen and paper and write it out. Maybe you're somebody who needs to type it out on your computer. If I have a long post, something that's very much about a group or something that's happening about business, I have to sit down and type it out. That's just my personality. That's what I got to do. But if it's something that's more inspirational, I can usually just sit down at my phone and type it out. And so just figure out what works for you. There's no right or wrong way. You just need to make sure that you're putting the time into those captions, because they go a long way. And if you want someone to follow you, they need to see, again, that consistency. They need to see those captions that are really going to be something that they want to follow. The biggest compliment I receive from people is literally when I wake up in the morning, I, do my devotional, and then I go straight to your Instagram because I want to see what you put out there that day. That is so encouraging. And that's what you want for people to say, right? Because at the end of the day, you can sit here and you can say, well, I can use Insta stories, or I can just be having personal messages through Instagram. And yes, all those things are great. But if you want to grow your Instagram feed, which is, by the way, is how I've grown my entire warm market, how I've grown my entire market in general. 90% of my business has happened on Instagram. And I've had to push myself to get off of Instagram and go talk to people, but it's just been a great platform for me. But the things that I have done are not anything that you can't do. That's just true. I am consistent. I make sure that the captions are in line with my brand. I'm not a Beachbody robot. I don't throw up Beachbody. I don't necessarily, most people don't even know I'm a Beachbody coach. And then we get into those conversations, and then they ask me questions, and then we talk about it. I make sure that I have good photos. I'm very picky. I reuse content all the time. I go back and use devotionals a lot from last year, 2 years ago. Reuse your content. Don't rewrite something every single day. That's okay. There's freedom in that, guys. If you've written great content last year, nobody's going to remember. Go back and reuse it. Take another photo and write on it, but then, use the same post in the bottom. So, get creative about what you're doing. You're putting a lot of work into this. And the thing is that a lot of big accounts that you follow, you don't realize it, but they use a lot of the same photos a lot. They've got really good photos. They got photos that they know get a lot of engagement from people, and they use those photos more than once. They go back and they use it again, and that's okay to do. There's no, right or wrong in this when it comes to that sort of thing. As long as you're posting those photos that have good lighting and are visually appealing, then that's okay. This is a marketing tool, guys. This is a way to connect with people. Let me also say this real quick too. With Instagram, I'm constantly messaging back and forth with people. Pretty much every time I log onto my Instagram, I have at least 7 to 8 new messages, sometimes more, sometimes maybe 5 or 6. But I always have a conversation going. I'm always messaging people through their Insta stories, replying to things that they said. It's never unauthentic. It's not even saying, oh, I'm going to sit down and message a bunch of people. It's just me looking through Insta stories and replying back to them and saying happy birthday and saying, I love your kids' shoes, or saying, oh, I've been thinking about doing that. How was it? Just starting conversations with people, and it leads to talking about a challenge group or, something like that. And so, I just think that this platform is very, very powerful. And if you use it in the right way, it will work. The thing is that, you start having those conversations with people on here, and when they go back to your feed and they see your Insta feed, that is just going to kind of check the mark for them, right? If they see you being consistent and they see that your feed looks good and they see that visually appealing content, then they're going to say, oh, this girl's legit. She's a real brand. I want to follow her. She's not just somebody who's, Beachbody thrown up, so just be thinking about that. Be cognizant of that and how you're running your account. And let me say this too, with Instagram, one way that I have gained a lot of followers is that I am very pretty much to the T, and I took a break for about 6 or 7 months just with having Emma Line and everything, and I just started back on it, and so you're going to see that my followers are starting to grow again. But I'm a big fan of following people. I go to accounts that are like mine, not like mine in the sense of anything to do with fitness, but like mine in the sense that they have the kind of followers that I want following me. So maybe it's, Proverbs 31 women, or an account like that, an account that's got the people following them that I want following me. I made that picture. I know who my person is. And I find those accounts. Maybe it's your favorite book that you're reading. Go to that person's account. If you love the book and you're getting a lot out of the book, like for instance, I could totally do this. I've never done this, but this devotional, Pressing Pause, it's 100 quiet moments for moms to meet with Jesus. I could go to this author's, Instagram, and I could go to her followers and go through and follow a bunch of the people that are following her, because guess what? Those people, if they like this devotional, they were obviously someone who loves Jesus. They're obviously probably a mom, because this is a mom's devotional. They kind of are starting to meet some of the aspects of what I'm looking for and someone I want to work with. And so I'll go to their Instagram and I'll follow a bunch of people. I probably follow at least 50 people a day when I'm really trying to grow my Instagram account. And so, that's okay. Like, that's a marketing tool. That's not you being ooey or gooey. Now, I think it's weird on Facebook, yes, but on Instagram, it's not, because they can, they don't have to follow you back, but it's just a way of honestly getting yourself out there. Because otherwise, it's not necessarily those people don't want to follow you. It's that they don't know about you. But the thing is that if you're going to do that, they've got to look at your Instagram and see that you're being consistent, that you've got good photos, that you've got good captions, that you are what your brand name says you are. Am I fit for his glory? Is that business, does that look like a valid Instagram that I want to go follow? And so I find that the better my photos are and the better that my stuff is on my Instagram, when I go to follow those people, I get way more people following me back. Then I'm getting more engagement. Another little free tidbit as well is tag brands, tag the stuff that you use in your photos, tag accounts that are relevant, because the more that you're like tagging those people in the photos, the more that people are engaging with your photos, the more it's going to get you on the Explore page, the more other people are going to see it. It kind of pushes you up on the Instagram newsfeed ranking. And so the more comments and likes that you have on your photo, the higher up you go. And so those types of things are going to help you get pushed up on the newsfeed. I think that's everything, guys. That was a lot. I hope that this was helpful. Let's take questions really quick, because I know that there are probably questions. So I'm going to unmute everyone, and just if you have a question, we'll take like maybe 3 or 4 minutes just to take some questions. Anyone? Was that helpful?
Yes. Definitely.
Good. Anything that you're curious about? Anything you're curious about that I do that you want to ask me about? I mean, free reign to ask me any questions about Instagram or anything right now. All right, let's go around really quick and just share, like, we'll just take 2 seconds to kind of say, hey, this is what I plan to implement this week that I haven't been doing on my Instagram that I'm going to do this week. Mindy, do you mind starting?
No. So I need to be better about planning my content as well. And because I'm like reaching for stuff. I don't have like a stock of good photos I can use. So I need to plan it out. And like, I think Patrice, you said a while ago, if you're having a really good hair day, just change your shirt, take more pictures. Like I need to do stuff like that. Yeah. So I have like a surplus to do. So planning, trying to take better photos, and then just being consistent as always.
Totally. Jennifer?
I'm going to try to post every day. It's November, and it's my birthday month and Thanksgiving. I'm going to try to run with that, try to hopefully have more content to post every day. And I feel like I tag brands. I was going to ask you if it mattered, like if you follow more people, than what you have liked. I always feel kind of weird about that, but you answered that, like, who cares, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to try to post not just this week, but all month at least once, if not twice. Twice is my goal, but I want to do at least once, because I'll post like every day for like a week and then I'll fall off for like a week.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's what I want to get better at.
Cool. Patrice, any takeaways for you?
Yeah, I'm kind of in a weird stage where I'm trying to, so I was doing a theme and now I'm in between, like not doing a theme and then figuring out what my next theme is, just to like I want it to look like. But yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let me just say this too, guys. If you ever, like, for you guys who are on this call right now, if you want me, I can totally, like, offline it. I can hop on I have to hop off here, so I can't be on any longer because Brian has to get to work. But I can offline it and take a look at y'all's Instagrams and give you feedback if you'd like. So if that's something that you want me to do, just shoot me a message on Facebook, and I can do that today, and I'll just send you back like a few bullet points. Have tough skin if you do that, because I'll be honest with you. So just know that if you want me to give you some feedback, that I can totally do that.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being on. I hope this was helpful. I'll post the replay in the group, and y'all have an awesome Wednesday.
You too.
Thanks.